Hey, and welcome back to the 495 test range. I'm not going to waste my time talking because you're probably looking at a pile of springs, screws, and bolts and everything else, wondering what the hell happened to your 1077. And why did I listen to some idiot on YouTube? Well, if you stick with me, you're going to find out, because we're going to get all that stuff back together. We're going to get your mods in there, and we're going to get you back on the range shooting in no time. So the first thing we need are your hammer and spring, your retaining pin, and an O-ring. No specific size, you're just going to have to find the tension on your own. Okay, so when you're placing in the pin here, you have to make sure that the beveled edge faces up. That's crucial. Alright, and on the backhand, or the back side of the hammer, you're going to see a screw which retains this spring. If you actually want to change the spring to a stronger one, you're going to have to pull that out. Otherwise, you can just leave it in, put your O-ring around, as long as you stretch your O-ring and the spring back to the post. So that's mod 1 completed. All you need is that O-ring or a stronger return spring put on. The next thing we're going to be working on is your sear. So you'll need the sear, the retaining pin, and the sear spring. Okay, the first thing that goes in is your retaining pin, as you can see. Then you'll put the spring over top of that. Make sure that the long end of the spring is facing the hammer. And then you'll drop the sear in on top of the spring. And this is what it should look like in the end. Next will be our trigger, the compression spring, and the trigger pin. So the trigger just slides right in. At this time you can replace the safety as well if you would like. Then there's the trigger guide pin. Place the spring in. You can do this now, or you can do it at the end just before you get the weapon together, because the spring has a tendency to pop out on you. Now we're working on the mods 2 and 3. They take place in your valve. As you can see, there's that red mark we talked about in part 1. You're going to have to put this on there so you can get the valve back together how it was when it came out of the factory. Now the valve cap should just pop right off. And out comes the spring. That's not the original spring, that's a modded spring. And then inside the cap there, you'll see mod 3, which is an add-on O-ring. That O-ring doesn't come with the weapon, you have to add it there. Okay, when you're putting it back together, you have to... Oh, there's the O-ring again. Yeah, it just looked like a spot where you could have put one, and I think it's going to save on some gas here. As well, there's our modded spring. That one is definitely stronger than the original. You can see coming up shortly here, this is the factory one. Now you don't have to do this mod. It's not crucial. It's just something that I did to see if it'll make any difference. So now when you're putting this back together, as I was talking about earlier, you'll see that there's a little notch on the top. Right there, I'm pointing to it. That has to go in first into the cap, and there's another notch inside the cap that you'll see that the two pieces will line up with. Drop your spring in and replace the cap back on to the valve. Remember, when you place the cap back on the valve, that you have to line up your red marks. Next, we're going to get your gas tube inlet and your valve back together. So this is the gas tube receiver going back together. Again, make sure the beveled edge sticks out. Otherwise it won't be able to receive the gas tube properly. Simply push your gas tube in, you'll feel it seat properly. And there you go, that should be your 1077 all back together again. Place the top side of your upper receiver back on with your 4 screws. All right, so there we have it. We've got your 1077 modded out. All you got to do now is add your optics, some CO2, some ammunition, and you are good to go. Anyways, we're running short on memory on my iPad here, so we're going to have to cut this episode short. But I want you to stay tuned. In the next few days, I'm going to post a video where we'll have the 1077 modded and unmodded going head-to-head against each other to see which is the better deal. If it even makes a difference, or if we're just, blowing gas. We'll see. But anyway, stay tuned to the 495. If you like what you see, like us on YouTube. If you don't like what you see, hit that dislike button. But feel free to leave a comment, email us with your show ideas, and stay tuned. We're still waiting for more information as well on the surprise rifle review that may be coming up in the next few weeks. So thanks very much. Take care.